Energy, something we never see but feel its effects and presence around us all the time. The calories in food, the battery in your smartphone, to the thoughts running in your mind, all are powered by some form of energy. In fact, from basic blocks of life to almost all economic activities in modern world are fundamentally nothing but form of conversion of energy from one form to another. That energy and how we use it in our lives is going to change for forever in next 10 years. All thanks to AI. Thousands of years ago, the only way for a human to use energy was using muscles, be it ours or of a dog or a horse. But in the modern world, energy isn't just fuel, it's the universal currency on which everything depends. Something basic and small, from a smartphone to a very large and huge cars to servers size of a small town, all depend on energy in the form of electricity. AI, it is a completely different level. It's the first technology since humans originated that is trying to replicate human thinking power, that will definitely reshape geopolitics and economies and what it ever means to be human. Thinking is already so energy consuming, and when done by an inefficient machine, it's going to be next level of energy demand. A fact that our brain has given so much energy that even our muscles had to get atrophied. That's why apes aren't smart but they have heavy muscles, unlike humans. Also, it doesn't mean that if you are lean, you are more smart. Don't think that. It's just higher intelligence is metabolically expensive. And if this is for an efficient system developed over thousands of years like our brains, imagine what it means for artificial intelligence, where most of the energy goes wasted in cooling those servers running the CPUs. Building synthetic intelligence needs a lot of energy in long term. Other than that, even a modern human consumes a lot more energy in different forms than our ancestors. Buckminster Fuller, a famous inventor, came up with this idea. A human being functioning as a worker operates at about 100 watts of continuous power. That's our biological baseline, the energy we consume while doing any work on our own. But today things have changed. The average person doesn't use only his body and muscles, it uses many other agents of power in the form of the electricity, fossil fuels, and many other things to maintain that standard of living. This multiplication of effort is the foundation of modern prosperity. Every car, every factory, every data center is an army of invisible energy slaves working for everyone. The fundamental rule is very simple. To be rich is very energy intensive for even an economy or a human. But according to Vaclav Smil, a famous scientist, energy is the only universal currency in the world. It's not money, power, or anything else, but energy. All human history, from farming to computation, is just a story of transition to using new forms of energy and how we consume them. But before looking at future, let's talk about how we reached here, from muscle power to everything now. Since our ancestors have stepped on planet Earth, almost everything people did was fueled by solar energy, captured by plants and converted into muscle power directly or indirectly. Society was dictated by growth cycles of crops and various plants and changing weather and amount of sunlight it receives. Cities could only grow as large as the forest radius that could economically support them. Higher energy production needed higher food production, and it wasn't efficient because nature always thinks of survival, not efficiency. open fires for cooking or heating wasted 90% or more of the thermal energy in the wood. But then came a very big breakthrough: coal. This was this was humanity's shift from free flowing energy that could not be stored and would be always real time in the form of sunlight stored in plants to storage based energy. The steam engine converted that thermal energy of coal into kinetic energy. Suddenly, factories didn't need to be near rivers anymore. Manufacturing exploded, industrial cities changed and moved everywhere. By 1900, coal accounted for half of the world's energy consumption. Then came oil and electricity much later. The most significant change was that of the electrical grid. Electricity, something we can never see but can feel its pain when it passes through our body, changed everything. On one side, where coals used to take time to reach from one place to another, electricity was instant. It traveled almost at the speed of light wherever needed, kind of like Superman. It was the most versatile, transportable, and controllable form of energy ever devised. It enabled separation of energy production from a place to consumption in a completely different region. By 2000, electricity was the lifeblood of the global economy of entire planet. Over the years, the way civilization's energy use evolved from powering muscles with coal to powering movement with oil to powering communication with electricity. But now something completely different is happening. We are not just using electricity to communicate anymore. We are using massive amounts of it never seen before to do one thing, and that is think, to create non-biological brain, an alternative just like machines were for muscles, and that changes everything. For the past 2 decades, electricity demand in advanced economies like US, Europe was relatively flat. Electricity was being consumed, but everything was under control. Demand and supply were balanced. But then came an announcement for ChatGPT in 2022. Since then, artificial intelligence has changed the trajectory of human species for the future. And along with that, it also raised new concerns. One of them was the high consumption of energy and incapability of producing that much energy. In 2024, global data centers consumed approximately 460 terawatt hours of electricity. That's about 1.5% of the world's total electric consumption. 1.5% is very huge. But things get more scary. According to International Energy Agency projects, this will be more than double to over 1000 terawatt hours by 2030. That's equivalent to the combined electricity consumption of Germany and France just for data centers, just to power artificial intelligence. All driven by data centers of size of small towns. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang said a single AI factory can consume 100 to 200 gigawatts of power. Training a model like GPT-3 consumed roughly 1.3 gigawatt hours, enough to power 120 US homes for an entire year. The numbers are already very big and they will continue to rise exponentially as the need for power and artificial intelligence increases. Okay, now you might think, but aren't chips getting more efficient? Well, yes, they are. But thing is that with increasing efficiency, another problem arises. Let me introduce you to Jevons paradox. It says as something becomes more efficient, it becomes cheaper and more accessible. Take a smartphone. This increases its use and application, driving more total demand, not less. So efficiency gains actually make the problem more bigger. And it's not that no one's thinking about this issue and only I am making the video. Tech companies know this and they are responding in ways that would have seemed insane 5 years ago. But those alone aren't enough until a breakthrough discovery is made. But among all this chaos, a question that pops up in our mind is, has this happened before? Does the history truly repeats itself? Energy historians like Wycliffe Smith emphasizes that global energy transitions in the past were historically slow. Coal nearly took a century to surpass biomass. Oil took over 50 years to become the dominant transport fuel. But the interesting thing is that the time is reducing between transitions. The transition that we are facing today is different in just one crucial aspect. We are attempting to leave high density fossil fuels for lower density renewable energy to conserve the environment, while the demand for energy is also increasing simultaneously. Something that has never happened before. So, what's the plan? Well, truly, there is no plan. The idea of wind and solar is fundamentally incompatible with the 24/7 baseload requirements of data centers even now. You cannot train a trillion parameter model only when the wind blows or when the sun is high. They are trying to champion a more promising source of energy for future in the form of nuclear power. Amazon has invested in X Energy. Google has partnered with Kairos Power to deploy small modular reactors by 2030 to 2035. And Microsoft signed a 20-year agreement with Constellation Energy to restart 3 Mile Island Unit 1. Yes, that same 3 Mile Island, the one with the famous nuclear reactor accident. Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, has personally invested $375 million into Helion Energy. The theory is simple. AGI requires infinite compute. Infinite compute requires infinite energy. Fusion is currently the only physics-compliant way to do that and dream a future of ASI later. The energy required to train and run that superintelligence is immense. If the energy demands of the digital superstructure exhaust the planetary budget before breakthrough energy technologies come online, all our dreams will never come true and it will all just be a sad part of history. But currently we face two possible paths to the future. One where fusion or advanced renewable tech provide near infinite energy and AI can optimize resources properly, synthesize materials and usher in an era where survival needs become almost negligible in terms of cost. Another where if energy remains constant and expensive as of now, the high cost of compute will concentrate power in the hands of those who own the energy grids and nuclear reactors producing them. The rich will have access to AGI and productivity it brings. The poor pay the price of achieving the intelligence itself. So, this was the end. The future of energy isn't about technology, it's about who really controls it. I was genuinely fascinated by this topic for a long time, and I think I have done my part very well, but now it's your part to watch this video and tell me in the comments the question you get or something that you want to share. I am trying to form a community of people just like myself where we can talk about AI, tech, future and many other things. openly. I will be always present in the comments section, so please. And that's it. Bye bye.